Utsahan nishchayat dhairyat tattat karma pravartanat sangatyagat sato vrittehe shadbhir bhakti prasidhyati. Translation. There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. Utsaha, being enthusiastic. Nishchaya, endeavoring with confidence. Dhairya, being patient. Tat karma pravartana, acting according to regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho, Smaranam, hearing, chanting, remembering Krishna. Sangatyaga, abandoning association of non-devotees. And Sato Vrittehe, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. Shadbhir Bhakti Prasidhyati. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So in our previous class, we discussed Utsaha and Theos. No? Or Theos, whatever. Greek version of being inspired by God, one acts energetically. That is called entheos. So, today we will discuss more about Nishchaya and Dhairya. We will try and complete these 2 titles. Before that, we would like to just quickly go through page 28. Bhakti is a sort of cultivation. That paragraph. Srila Prabhupada is so careful, knowing that this book will be read even by newcomers who don't know anything about Bhakti. So he gives a very brief but very, very to the point, much needed, exact detailing of Bhakti in these few paragraphs. Bhakti is a sort of cultivation. When we say cultivation, it refers to activity. Cultivation of spirituality does not mean sitting down idly for meditation, as some pseudo-yogis teach. Such idle meditation may be good for those who have no information of devotional service, and for this reason it is sometimes recommended as a way to check distracting material activities. Just like in the classroom, if a child is making too much noise, running around, shouting, yelling, then the teacher may tell him to stand on a bench. Sometimes they call murga. You become murga. And you stay in a very awkward position like that for some time. And they keep some scale on the back of that fellow while he's holding like that, or on the head. And if it falls, then the duration increases for standing like that. Similarly, materialistic people, being inspired by Maya Shakti, they do very, very distracting and very, very, what we call, unbeneficial activities. So the scriptures tell them Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga is nothing but become a murga, in short. In the classroom, you do yam, niyam, asana, dharana, pratyahar, finally, all that you do, and finally sit in meditation, keep quiet. Shut up, basically. So that at least you will not do disturbing activities. Hopefully you will start meditating on Paramatma, that's a different story. But even if you couldn't do that, at least you will not disturb others by your nonsense. But actual purpose is not to make somebody into a murga. You have to make him a positively engaged, contributive personality in the society. And that's why when we talk of spirituality, we don't want that type of spirituality which makes you perform silent meditation. We want dynamic samadhi, full absorption in thought of Krishna while rendering multitudes of activities for his pleasure. And that sort of cultivation of spirituality is the natural condition of the living being. So, meditation means stopping all nonsensical activities, at least for some time, at least for the time being. Devotional service, however, not only puts an end to the nonsensical mundane activities, but also engages one in meaningful devotional activities. And then there is a list of them. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam. Shravanam or hearing is the first step in acquiring transcendental knowledge. One should not give oral reception to unauthorized persons, but should approach proper persons. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. It is further recommended in Mundaka Upanishad, tad vijnanartham sa gurum eva abhigachet. To understand transcendental science, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master. Thus, this method of submissively receiving transcendental, confidential knowledge is not merely based on mental speculation. Can you get where is the Gadi going? Why this discussion? How did it begin? Bhakti is cultivation. Cultivation means activity. So, in order to know which sort of activity to begin rendering, you first need to hear from authorized persons. Only then can you channelize your activities in the right direction. So therefore you need a spiritual master. Brahmanda Brahmite Kon Bhagyavan Ajiv Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. In the course of traversing the universal creation of Brahma, some fortunate soul may receive the seed of Bhakti Lata. This is all by the grace of Guru and Krishna. So at the time of Diksha, what happens? There is that Bhakti Lata Bij, which is ever present in the heart, but unfortunately it has lost its contact with the germination process for lifetimes. So the Guru actually reawakens that dormant seed in our heart, and that's what starts sprouting once again in this lifetime. And this Bhakti Lata Bij, as it grows into Bhakti Lata, creeper, eventually produces the fruit of love of Godhead, Krishna Prema. That is also cultivation, gardening. So Prabhupada is not going outside the realm of cultivation, anywhere. So all these topics are in that connection. The material world is a place of confinement for the living entities who are by nature anandamaya, pleasure seeking. They actually want to be free from the confinement of this world of conditional happiness. All of us have this experience. I will go enjoy Vrindavan Yatra. I will go enjoy Sunday feast in the temple. I will go enjoy festival that is being put up by some devotees. Some marriage is going on somewhere, I heard. And I'll go and enjoy a nice prasadam there. Asterisk. Conditions apply. Every enjoyment that we are talking about, I will go and do this, I will enjoy like this, I will enjoy like that in this world, has got conditions apply. Provided your stomach is not upset. Provided you don't meet an accident. Provided there is no heavy rain that suddenly bursts out. Provided somebody doesn't insult you while you are there in that place. Only then can you so-called enjoy something. So I hope you are getting what is the definition of conditional happiness. We can be so-called happy, saying I'm happy. Sometimes you go and ask people, so how are you? Fine, nice, good. But at the back of that, there are 100 conditions that are going on which we are not aware of. And this is why this is called conditional happiness of this world. Spiritual happiness is not conditional happiness. It is not based on any material conditions. And this is why a jiva who is anandamayo abhyasat, pleasure seeking, is seeking for that type of unconditional pleasure. So, but not knowing the process of liberation, the living entities are bound to transmigrate from one species of life to another and from one planet to another. Brahmanda Brahmite. In this way, the living entities are wandering throughout the material universe. When by good fortune one comes in contact with a pure devotee and hears from him patiently, one begins to follow the path of bhakti. Such an opportunity is offered to a person who is sincere. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness is giving such a chance to humanity at large. If by fortune one takes advantage of this opportunity to engage in devotional service, the path of liberation immediately opens. Mahat sevam dwaram ahur vimukte. Simply by association and service to great souls, doors of liberation open wide for a person. So let's go back. Bhakti is a sort of cultivation. Cultivation means activity. Then there are 9 types of activities that come under bhakti. Of them, Shravanam is most important because that will decide the quality of the rest of the activities that we do. And this Shravanam has to be done from a pure devotee spiritual master on a regulated basis. In order to do all this, now begins Utsaha. One should accept this opportunity to return home back to Godhead very enthusiastically. Without enthusiasm, one cannot be successful. Even in the material world, one has to be very enthusiastic. As a student, businessman, artist, one has to be very enthusiastic in devotional service. Enthusiasm means action. Action for whom? Krishnarthe akhila cheshtha. Always act for Krishna. In all phases of life, one has to perform devotional activities under the direction of spiritual master in order to attain perfection in Bhakti Yoga. It is not that one has to confine on or narrow one's activities. Krishna is all pervading. Nothing is independent of Krishna. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyaktamurtina matsthani sarvabhutani nachaham teshu avasthitaha. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. This is an interesting concept. How Krishna is immanent in but transcendental to. The material world. Maya tatamidam sarvam. I am all pervading. There is not a sphere of life in which Krishna is not present. Somebody may say, why I can't see him if he's so everywhere? So Krishna says, I am covered by the 3 modes of material nature. They act like a veil of illusion. Although Krishna is right there next to us, we cannot see him because of that curtain. So in this way, Krishna is immanent in the whole creation. You understand this word? All pervading. Fully present into. At the same time, Matsthani sarva bhutani, all beings are situated in me. Nachaham teshu avasthitaha, but I am not in them. Nacha matsthani bhutani, and yet the beings are not situated in me. Pashyame yogam aishwaram. Just see my opulence of my powers. So, we have studied this earlier. Bill Gates in Microsoft. He is immanent in, yet transcendental to the company that he runs. He is everywhere because of his power, energy. But he is not there. He is enjoying his own life somewhere separate. So in this way, we have to appreciate this concept first, that there is nothing that is not connected to Krishna. And therefore everything has to be engaged in Krishna's service. When we start seeing it like this, can we be enthusiastic? And that is why for Utsaha, it's a prerequisite. For example, at the present we are using a dictaphone. The materialist who invented this machine intended it for businessmen and writers of mundane subject matters. He certainly never thought of using dictaphone in God's service. But we are using the dictaphone to write Krishna conscious literatures. And then Prabhupada explains how Krishna is there in dictaphone. The manufacturer of the dictaphone is wholly within energy of Krishna. All parts of the instrument, including electronic functions, are made up of different combination interaction of 5 material energy: Bhumi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, Akash. Inventor used his brain. That brain is also, with all its ingredients, was supplied by Krishna. So in this way, according to the statement, Matsthani Sarva Bhutani. What a very elaborate explanation. Everything rests on my energy. Thus the devotee can understand that since nothing is independent of Krishna's energy, everything should be dovetailed in his service. So typically also we see, if there is a big businessman and he has made some fortune, then his children, while wandering about in the property of their father, are supposed to be always aware that this is all belonging to my father. Just like when we go to Mayapur, Bade Baap ke Bigade Ladke. So we get to use such wonderful facilities. You know, the boat rides, the darshans, the prasadam, the kirtan, the whole experience of Dham. Hardly we are contributing anything from our side to experience that much. So one has to be conscious that it is all emanating from a loving father, Prabhupada, and I am simply being sheltered in it. In the same manner, a devotee sees this whole universe as paraphernalia meant for serving Krishna because of love, and this is the source of his energy or enthusiasm. Now comes the definition. Endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called Utsaha. A devotee find the correct means by which everything can be utilized in the service of God. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. The execution of bhakti is not a matter of idle meditation, but practical action in the foreground of spiritual life. So we discussed some pastimes in this connection, how Prabhupada utilized dictaphones, huge container trucks for BBT, book publishing and distribution. He utilized jet airplanes as Jet Age Parivrajak Acharya. Prabhupada utilized hippies and heads of state, all alike, in Krishna's service. For him, nothing was outside the jurisdiction of Krishna. He never said, oh, this cannot be used. We know that famous story. There was that great discovery of the hippies where by burning the banana peels, you could get intoxicated. And then they were celebrating that and they called Prabhupada. And then after the Hare Krishna Kirtan that got over, they said they want to gift a crate of bananas with the condition that peels have to come back to us. Is that allowed? Now if you and I would be there, we would say, hey, come on, that's outside the jurisdiction of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said, that's fine. Anyways, they are going to do that business. At least they are offering something to Krishna. And in this way, he accepted that service. So there are innumerable such examples where Prabhupada could actually utilize a certain such portion of material energy which is unimaginable for many, that this can be used in God's service. And that was his speciality, wherever he went. One time Prabhupada was on a flight with Indradyumna Swami and I think Pradyumna Prabhu, his Sanskrit editor. And in the airplane there was a Charlie Chaplin movie. So Indradyumna Maharaj narrates that pastime very nicely. He says, I wanted to appear very sincere devotee to Prabhupada, so I was not looking at that screen, although I had a great desire to watch the movie. And I opened Bhagavad Gita and I started reading, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yonam jara. All that he narrates very nicely. And then I looked at Pradyumna. So he was struggling between the book and that screen. And then I looked at Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was watching the movie. And he was laughing, slapping on the lap sometimes. And I was little wonderstruck. Then I looked at Pradyumna. He was just looking for a clue. Phew, both of us closed the book and started watching the movie. Ha 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 ho, ho. He laughs, with Prabhupada, everybody started giving claps to each other whenever there is a wonderful, humorous thing that happens in the screen. Then he said, wait a minute. Is this all right in Krishna consciousness that you watch a Charlie Chaplin movie, that too with your spiritual master? Is that Krishna conscious? So I went and again asked. I think it was Shyam Sundar Prabhu. I'm forgetting one of them. I asked him, how are we to understand this behavior of our spiritual master? And then he said, why don't you ask him directly? So he said, we finally boarded the plane. We came out. We eventually were in a position where I actually could ask Prabhupada. So can I understand the purport behind watching Charlie Chaplin? What is there in it about Krishna? Prabhupada replied that the humor, Krishna says, that I am the original humor. And when I was watching this movie of foolish activities that happen in human civilization, I was strongly reminded of that humor of Krishna. And in this way, I could perceive Krishna in the movie. Now that I think does not mean that we should start watching movies to perceive Krishna there, because we have tough time perceiving Krishna in deity form, in holy name, in Bhagavatam, in so many direct manifestations of Krishna right in front of us. We can't have that connection. Forget going in Maya and finding Krishna there. So I hope this pastime is not inspiring uti, they call it some wrong inspirations in the heart. But we should develop this ability in general. Not that we have to go searching Maya. Maya is there everywhere around. And in case we bump across, which is majority of the time, we should perceive Krishna there. What is Krishna trying to teach me? Like we say, we did that exercise once. All the advertisements are about Krishna consciousness. Yeah, he had right choice, baby. What? Yeah. And जीवन के साथ भी, जीवन के बाद भी. Bhakti, Krishna consciousness. Ye dil mange more. Sadhu Sangha. What do you want? Prasadam. And so many, So it is not that Krishna is not all pervading. It is that we fail to understand his presence. And this comes by hearing from a bona fide spiritual master. By this kind of regular hearing, we start perceiving Krishna everywhere around us. And for those who want to see him, he says, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. That is his reciprocation. So this was about enthusiasm. Till now a summary. Because we didn't go into the purport, you may wonder what happened. So we completed that. Now we go to the next topic, patience, dhairyat. And who is the team ready with their... Dhairya kaun hai? Oh sorry, Nishchay. Correct. Nishchay, who is ready? So please come up with your preparation and present it before everyone.
Hare Krishna. We'll be discussing Nishchaya, confidence, text 3, principles favorable for the execution of pure devotional service. In discussing confidence, Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Prabhupada discuss purity of devotional service. They mention that the devotee's mentality is very important when he is thinking of or wanting to do devotional service, because he must think that Krishna will help him under all circumstances. Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. Krishna will surely protect me and give me help for the successful execution of devotional service. This is called confidence. His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The example is of Arjuna when during the battle of Kurukshetra, he had Krishna on his side and he was executing his devotional service with full faith and confidence that Krishna will be on his side and things will work out well. In Upadeshamrita, Srila Rupa Goswami has instructed all practitioners of devotional service to be confident. Until this is achieved, one will remain doubtful. And he further goes on to add that ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami mentions in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kahe Sudrida Nischaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Haya. By rendering transcendental loving service to Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. This confident, firm faith favorable to the discharge of devotional service is called Shraddha. He also mentions that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had broken up this entire thing under 3 essential truths. And these 3 essential truths are Sambandha, which is our relationship with God, Abhidaya, understanding the relationship and working towards the goal, which is Prayojana, our ultimate goal, that is going back to Godhead. These 3 truths have further got, expanded into 10 truths, and they are called as Amnaya. Amnaya, Vedic knowledge, which is received through the Guru Parampara system, is called Amnaya. And this is received through Mahajans, that is in the Guru Parampara, Guru Shishya system, which is relating to the qualifications for devotion, that is Amnaya. It is the only authority regarding the goal of life, and it's the only way by understanding this, and it manifests in the pure heart on the strength of Amnaya. Next. There are 10 realities of Amnaya, of which the first 7 relate to Sambandha, the 8th relates to Abhideya, and the 9th relates to Prayojana. And the 10th one we are going to be discussing is on Prema. First reality mentions that the Supreme Brahman, Sri Hari, is the only worshipable Lord. The second reality, Amnaya says, is the Supreme Lord Hari is naturally full of inconceivable potencies. And we know many examples of those, which is, one example is of the banyan tree and the its potential is in the seed, which is just the tip of a pinhead. It's as small as the tip of a pinhead. The third reality is the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, is the reservoir of all spiritual rasas. And we know that there are 5 rasas, Sakhyam, Dasyam, and so on. The fourth reality is the living entities are minute particles of the spiritual sun, Krishna, and they are innumerable. The fifth reality is that living entities searching for their own happiness accept Maya, and so they enjoy happiness and distress while under the grip of material time. They are called as Nitya Baddhas. The sixth reality is those who are searching for Krishna's happiness, they are called Nitya Muktas. And the seventh reality is Achintya Veda Ved, which is simultaneously different and one. Example is of the sun and the rays, fire and the sparks. The eighth reality of Amnaya relates to Abhideya, which is understanding this relationship that we have with God. And here, there's a very famous shloka from the Srimad Bhagavatam that Prahlad Maharaj says, Shri Prahlad Uvacha, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. When a conditioned living entity engages in service at the lotus feet of Krishna with his mind, body, and words, that is called bhakti. The ninth principle, it's related to prayojana. The symptoms of bhakti in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu have been mentioned. Anya bhilashita sunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttame. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. The 10th principle is prema, which is prayojana or the supreme goal. Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kahe Sudrida Nischaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Haya. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said that faith is the basis of devotional service to Lord Krishna, and that comes only when we have the right knowledge and clear understanding of the above mentioned realities and therefore gains firm confidence. And reaching the level of prema, there are 9 stages. Yeah. It starts with Shraddha. This is taken from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Shraddha going to Sadhu Sangha. Then next stage is Shravanam Kirtanam, Anartha Nivriti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema. Yeah. The next part will be taken by Chitti Shakti. And I would also like to acknowledge that we have taken a lot of material from Bhakti Aloka and from the lectures of Bhakti Rasamrita Swami Maharaj and Tamal Krishna Swami Maharaj.
Thorough study, very bold, wonderful.
Hare Krishna. This is regarding Nishchaya of Raghunath Goswami. He was one of the most dear servant of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although Raghunath Goswami was from aristocratic family, he had no attachment for his estate. Seeing his tendency to leave home, his father engaged special bodyguards to watch him over him. But nevertheless, he managed to escape their vigilance and went to Jagannath Puri to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As his Nishchay, he rendered confidential service to Lord for 16 years at Jagannath Puri. As a daily duty, he regularly offered 1,000 obeisances to the Lord and chanted at least 100,000 holy names and offered obeisances to 2,000 Vaishnavas. Day and night, he rendered service within his mind to Radha Krishna, and for 3 hours a day, he discoursed about the character of Lord Chaitanya Prabhu. As a Nishchay, Sri Raghunath Goswami took 3 baths daily at Radha Kundam, and he engaged in devotional service for more than 22.5 hours a day. Sri Krishna Kaviraj Goswami accepted Raghunath Das Goswami as his special guide. Hare Krishna.
So this is a very appropriate pastime that they chose for Nishchaya. It is said Raghunath Das Goswami, his vows were like lines on stone, and he would fulfill those vows no matter what. In fact, when he became too old and he was not able to do Govardhan Parikrama, that's one thing that I didn't mention. Every day he used to do Govardhan Parikrama. So we did once and we know what happened. So when he became old, he still had this desire, but he couldn't. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him a Govardhan Shila and told him, you can do Parikrama here of this Shila 7 times and get the same credit of doing Govardhan Parikrama. So there are many pastimes of Raghunath Das Goswami, but his ability to make and keep his vows is what we should really think when we talk about Nishchay. And this is the secret of success in spiritual life, to make and keep our commitments. Hare Krishna.
This is the second pastime. When Lord Krishna was enjoying his childhood pastimes with his boyfriends, one Aghasur demon became very impatient. He was unable to see Krishna playing, so he appeared before the boys intending to kill all of them. This Aghasur was so dangerous that even the denizens of heaven were afraid of him. Although they drank nectar daily to prolong their lives, they were afraid of this demon and were wondering, when will he be killed? The denizens used to drink nectar to become immortal, but actually they were not confident of their immortality. On the other hand, the boys who were playing with Krishna had no fear of the demons. They were free of fear. Any material arrangement for protecting oneself from death is always unsure. But if one is in Krishna consciousness, then immortality is confidently assured. The demon Aghasur appeared before Krishna and his friends. Deciding to kill all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, he expanded himself by the yogic siddhi. He expanded himself up to 8 miles and assumed the shape of a very fat serpent. Having attained this wonderful body, he stretched his mouth open just like a mountain cave. Desiring to swallow all the boys at once, including Krishna and Balram, he sat on the path. The demon in the shape of a big fat serpent expanded his lips from land to sky. His lower lip was touching the ground and his upper lip was touching the clouds. At first, the boys thought that the demon was a statue. But after examining it, they saw that it was more like a serpent lying down in the road and widening his mouth. The boys began to talk among themselves. This figure appears to be a great animal, and he is sitting in such a posture just to swallow us all. Just see, is it not a big snake that has widened his mouth to eat all of us? Then they further consulted among themselves. If we all enter at one time into the mouth of this great serpent, how could it possibly swallow us? And even if it were to swallow all of us at once, it could not swallow Krishna. Krishna will immediately kill him, as he did Bakasur. Talking in this way, all the boys looked at the beautiful lotus-like face of Krishna and they began to clap and smile. And so they marched forward and entered the mouth of the gigantic serpent. This is confidence. Avashya Rakshive Krishna, Krishna will surely protect me.
This is another pastime of the Lord. After the Mahabharata war ended, the Pandavas became victorious and Duryodhan was lying on the battlefield all injured. At that point, Ashwathama went up to him and wanted to please him and said, Duryodhan, what is it that I can do for you that is going to make you happy? And Duryodhan obviously said, well, I would like to see the Pandavas all dead. Ashwathama entered the Pandavas' tent in the middle of the night, and as we all know, the Pandavas were not sleeping there. So instead of killing the Pandavas, what he did was he cut off the heads of the Pandavas' sons and he took them to Duryodhan. The next morning, the Pandavas heard Draupadi wailing over the death of her sons. Arjun vows to bring Ashwathama to Draupadi and tells her that she could punish him in whatever way she thought was right. Arjun and Krishna chased Ashwathama, caught him, tied him up and brought him to Draupadi.
When everybody was eager to see what punishment Draupadi would give him, she ordered that Ashwadhama should be freed and allowed to go. The onlookers were all aghast at this verdict. And at that point, Draupadi said, "Well, I would never want to see another mother suffer the grief of losing her child." This terribly humiliated Ashwadhama. He decided that he is going to kill the only child that is going to carry on the Pandav lineage further. So he decided to kill the child of Uttara, who was the widow of Abhimanyu. He directed his Brahmastra at Uttara's womb. Now Uttara, little girl, was terrified by the weapon which was coming upon her to destroy her unborn child. And at that time, she turned to the only person that she was sure could protect her, and that was Krishna. She took refuge at Krishna's feet. The Lord is touched by the faith that Uttara had in him, and he immediately entered her womb and protected the child. The Brahmastra saluted the Lord and returned without harming the child. This pastime shows that Uttara had complete confidence in the protection that the Lord is going to provide her. And it also is an example of inconceivable potency that we spoke about as the second truth when we spoke about Amnaya. So this is God's inconceivable potency, where he was standing next to Uttara and he was also simultaneously within her womb protecting the child. Hare Krishna.
The few quotes which mention about the principle of Nishchay, it's Bhagavad Gita 6.24. Sa Nishchayana yoktavyo yogo nirvina chetasa sankalpa prabhavo kamas tyaktva sarvan asheshatah manasvendriya gramam viniyam samantatah. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with undeviating determination and faith. One should abandon without exception all material desires, both born of false ego, and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Tato bhajeta mam prita shraddhalur drida nischaya jushamanascha tan kaman dukho dar kamanscha garhayan. My devotee should remain happy and worship me with great faith and conviction. Even though he is sometimes engaged in sense enjoyment, my devotee knows that all sense gratification leads to a miserable result, and he sincerely repents such activities. Before handing over the mic for this topic, I'd like to say about the Amnaya that we have presented here in the point form. Actually, when we look at the detailed form, each point can be described in a page or two in the book Bhaktyalog.
Hare Krishna. As guided by His Grace Balgun Prabhu, we have divided this topic of personal applications of Nishchaya into two categories: identifying the pitfalls and how to address these pitfalls. The first point here I would like to present is hearing from non-bona fide people, for example like Mayavadis, resulting in no or weak faith in the absolute truth. This is like sometimes even after becoming devotees, we have a habit of watching channels like Sanskar and Astha, and sometimes these people are so expert, not all of them are Mayavadis, but some of them are so expert that they make us cry, they make us, with their talking, they really allure us. So if we continue to hear these, then gradually our faith on the absolute truth, it fades. So how to address this is identifying bona fide authorities and hearing with submission and attention from them. Then the second point is associating with devotees who have multi-branched intelligence, who on slight provocation take shelter of astrology, Vastu, then pujas, babas, how like His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj Swami says, Tan puja, yes. and tantrics and also demigods. So here also it does happen when everything is going fine, we are fine with Krishna consciousness, but in testing times so many people advise us, and sometimes some might say कि अरे तुम तुम 5 मंगलवार को नारियल चढ़ाओ गणपति भगवान को तो तुम्हारा प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाएगा. So we feel at that time, even I might be a part of it, we feel at that time अरे करने में क्या हर्ज है, कुछ लॉस तो नहीं हो रहा है. But on the long run we lose our confidence and faith in devotional service. So similarly then many people go for these babas, then sometimes they turn to tantrics also. So the counteracting point over here is we should, as I call it, as we should associate it with chaste devotees. Chaste devotees are those who are firmly fixed in the holy names, and with confidence they know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Also, this is a small tip which we can put in our lives is in testing times we can make small quotes, self-made phrases where we are weak. We can make like Krishna is the origin of all sciences, or I am suffering because of my own karmas, and only attentive chanting and praying will lessen my problem. These other sciences, like all these astrology, and we are not against it, but in reference to this topic today, I am saying that these all sciences will not solve the real problems of my life, which is birth, old age, disease, and death. I mean, we are in devotional service just for this main problem. So this can be a counteracting this thing. Then the third point is poor quality sadhana. Here I again call it as deliberate inattentive chanting. With poor quality of sadhana means like how it leads is when we have poor quality of sadhana, I feel that, I mean, it's a fact that if our sadhana is very pakka, then small realizations come from within, which builds our confidence. But if our sadhana is only poor quality, then confidence will be too much far. So deliberate inattentive chanting means sometimes we all keep 2 hours especially for chanting, but in those 2 hours also sometimes we fidget with mobile, or sometimes we do like we are watching out of the window, or sometimes we do things which we have set aside those 2 hours, but still we are inattentive. That means we have made 80% this thing to do attentive chanting, but that 10-20% we are not putting in hard work. So that is and the counteracting part is that we can take baby steps towards improving the quality of chanting, hearing, reading, etc. Here the practical steps would be like we can take doable small vows. Like I will not talk to anybody until I finish 4 rounds, or I will not touch my mobile until at least 8 rounds, and stick to these small, and these are not undoable, we can do it actually. So this can also increase our confidence in devotional service, because good quality of chanting leads to realization. Also, we have heard that if you hear attentively, the realizations of the speaker comes to us. So if we try to hear also attentively, our confidence will increase in bhakti. Then the next point is some devotees have some devotees are interested only in the rasa part of bhakti, like taking part in kirtan, then having prasad, then participating in dramas or watching dramas, or they are interested in festival attending. And at the same time, when we they are not too much attentive towards the tattva. Tattva, that is the attending the philosophy. We many times see that when the lecture starts, the devotees are gayab. And after some time, when prasadam time is there, they come back. So because of this losing over the tattva part, their confidence in devotional service reduces. So the counterpart would be we should try to balance between rasas and tattvas, and by trying to associate with devotees who regularly hear, and also even if it is an austerity to hear, make it a point that once in a week or sometimes you hear. Even if, you should take it as a tapa to sit and hear. That will increase our confidence. And then some devotees, they have complete faith in the process of devotional service, but they lack competence, means they don't have skills, which leads to poor confidence again. For example, in book distribution, most of us are thoroughly convinced that this is the process and Prabhupada's books are the ultimate. But when it comes to distribution, because we lack competence, sometimes we are shy, or sometimes we don't know how to speak out what we think. Because of that, our confidence goes low. So the counteracting thing is we can try to learn skills. Sometimes we feel that we want to sing nicely for the pleasure of the Lord, but we don't know how to play kartal. We don't know nice tunes. So we can try to learn these skills and practice them with patience. Then even with that, our confidence increases. And one more point which came to us is attachment to material things and relations leads to lack of confidence. And we fail to believe that bhakti is complete within itself. For example, even after becoming devotees, we think that we should have very nice contacts with the material world. Even parents, usually they get scared, अरे हमारी बच्चियों की शादी करनी है, तो devotee circle में नहीं मिला तो. So it's better we have good contacts and good relations with everybody. And maybe monetarily sometimes we might need help of some big shot of our relatives. So we maintain good. This is actually showing less confidence, because as I called the chaste devotees, they will always believe that no matter what happens, if I am true to my sadhana, Krishna will definitely protect me in worse conditions. And if protection or help does not come, it is due to my karmas. So it's a very tough part to go through this, but actually the chaste devotees, those who are very nishthavan, they should believe in this only. So the counteracting part for this last is we should try to spend more time with devotee circles, and we should with non-devotees we should spend time in such a way that they do not feel neglectful also, but it's not that whole of our time is for them only. So that's it. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji. You can correct Prabhuji.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Now, the lessons that we learn from this, so it is Lord Krishna who keeps reassuring us time and again that take to devotional service and success will be yours. And there are many shlokas which he says in Bhagavad Gita, but there are a few of them that we have taken up here. Tanisha she will see the picture.
Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktah pranashyati. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. From Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj's lecture, he said that in Kurukshetra war, Arjun was no match for Bhishma, Drona and Karna, but he could defeat them all. Why? Because Arjun was a devotee, and the Lord said that his devotees will never perish. Lord practically demonstrated.
नेहा विक्रमनाशोस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्व अल्पम अपे अस्य धर्मस्य त्रेयते महतो भयात्. In this endeavor there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Ajmal in his earlier life had a small percentage of Krishna consciousness, but at the end of his life, he enjoyed 100% Krishna conscious results.
Bhagavad Gita 18.66. Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami ma shacha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Lord Krishna again demonstrated this when he came as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Jagai and Malgai surrendered at his lotus feet, the Lord practically showed that he had removed all their sins when his body turned black after having taken their sins.
So, having confidence in Krishna's words, one must perform devotional service wholeheartedly, without any doubts, and success in achieving your goal will be yours. I mean, success will be yours. Okay, and we would like to thank everybody who participated in this, and a big, big thanks to Bhakti Rasamrita Swami Maharaj, Saman Krishna Goswami Maharaj. We took a lot of inputs from their lectures. And of course, Srila Prabhupada's lectures as well. That we didn't mention here. Hare Krishna.
Sometimes I feel it is really a, what we call, Krishna's sense of humor, that I have been made so-called teacher of this team of people. They know everything. It's better that I just shut up, sit there and hear your wonderful realizations, amazing insights, and very great relish that you have developed in your own spiritual practices. So I can't tell you how happy I am to see this presentation. What a quality presentation this was. And it is not just a matter of collecting information and presenting it, appealingly. Because these devotees, they really have nishchaya. You can sense it in their talk. Even these girls, the way they speak, you can sense that this is nishchaya. Determined to practice Krishna consciousness. So I congratulate everyone for this beautiful presentation. And they have set such a bar. I wish everybody all the best. I hope you will also come up to the standard of the way they have done this presentation.
If every group has a Radha Sevika Mataji, then they go.
Yes, true. Now every group has some Don, I know, in general. We have Swaminathan Prabhu and so it's nice. So I would just add a little bit of my 2 cents of wisdom. So when we talk of Nishchay, there are few personalities that will immediately come to your mind. Devotees who had great determination in their spiritual life. And I have listed many, but I would just discuss few of them. The first is Pandavas. Their life is an amazing example for everyone to look into in terms of what is it that is meant by Nishchay. To remain Krishna's devotees despite what happens around. In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the beginning it comes that Pandavas blew their conch shells. Sa ghosho dhartarashtranam hrudayani vyadarayat. The sound of their blowing conch shells shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, this was because of their confidence in Lord Krishna. Can you imagine a devotee simply blows a conch shell and the enemy's hearts are shattered? अभी तक war चालू भी नहीं किया उसने कुछ, सिर्फ conch shell blow गया, and the enemy is already half dead. That is called confidence. Another example of Nishchay is Hanuman. He had such a determination, not only just to go find Mother Sita, do the needful with Ravana and his gang, and later on assist Ram in various ways. Especially his determination to always remain humble, despite all great accomplishments. It's amazing, Nishchay. Hanuman is a very interesting combination of two opposite qualities. Somebody who is extremely knowledgeable and yet extremely innocent. Generally, if you are too witty, means you know too much, you are not Nishpap nahi rehta. He has, and Hanumanji is such a, you know that story, right? Sita Maiya gives the garland of moti ka har and he chews the motis and sees what is inside. And they say, what are you doing? Itna gift diya tumko. Bandar ka bandar hi reh gaya. So then they say, I was seeing whether there is Ram inside or not. So, and that another famous pastime where he asked Sita Maiya, what is this red vermilion you put here? Now she thinks, first of all, monkey. On top of that, brahmachari. What will he understand? All the subtleties of, husband-wife romance, what happens when you put here something, what does that do to the heart of the other person? So she said, well, this vermilion, when you put it like this, it pleases Lord Ram. Hanuman said, is it? And then it disappeared. Sita Maya was wondering what next. And next day in the darbar appears one red murti of full red, everything red, except the white eyes that are moving here and there. The entire personality is red. And everybody is wondering, who is this? And Lord Ram asks, Hanuman, is that you? He said, yes, my lord. So what happened? What did you do to yourself? He said, if Sita Maya puts this much vermilion, you feel so happy about it. I thought if I put my whole body, the whole red, how happy you would become. So this is height of innocence, to want to please someone. And this is same Hanuman who is so wise, and he has such knowledge of scriptures, and he has such vast abilities, skills. So this is an interesting combination in Hanuman. And the third example in Chaitanya Charitamrita of Nishchay is Srivas Thakur, a householder. And we know that 3 clap story. Whatever I need within those 3 claps, if it doesn't appear in front of me, I will drown myself in Ganges. And Lord Chaitanya is saying, it may someday happen that Lakshmi will have to go begging door to door. But in your home, Srivas, there will be no scarcity. Of course, that is not going to happen, that Lakshmi will go begging anywhere. Why? Because of his confidence in Lord and his reciprocation. So, this is one part of the story where we have to have Nishchaya that Avashya Rakshime Krishna, Vishwasa Palan, and he will always protect, maintain, nourish. At the same time, that point that was raised, should we really keep association with materialistic persons thinking in future they will be of some help or not? Our daughters are to be married, financial issues sometimes keep coming up, and somebody can be a little help in giving some loan in our family. So in such circumstances, what does a devotee do? So they had given a nice clue. They said, do the needful in keeping the contact, but do not invest your loyalty, or so to say your Shraddha in such materialistic shelters. Now I'll elaborate a little more on this faith part, because that is where it all begins, Nishchay. We give this example that if you are pressing accelerator in your car, that's compared to Utsaha, which is born out of confidence that I am on the right track, in the right situation, doing the right thing. But if you have some doubts in Krishna or the process or devotees, then what happens? That is like pressing the brake. So imagine you drive a car with both pressed, accelerator also and brake also. Basically you get heated up. In the same manner, to develop unflinching faith, faith is to believe what you can't see. Is it not? In simplest terms. Like we talk about Krishna Prem, spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan, 5 rasas. Quite a faith. Trust in something sublime, Prabhupada says, is called faith. So therefore, to begin with, to have this faith that Lord will protect me. Even if I fall down, Lord will pick me up. And Hari, Guru, Vaishnavas, holy name, deity, and this process of bhakti, to have confidence in them, that this process works. I have faith that they will carry me, they will take me. My duty right now, I can't see the result materialize in front of my eyes, but my understanding is that I will keep on practicing this process, whether or not I get the immediate results as I'm cultivating these things. Now, they brought up this topic of 3 types of faithless people. And we have done that in Bhagavad Gita long back. Adnya, Ashraddhadhana, Samshayatma. You remember this? Adnyascha Ashraddhadhanascha Samshayatma Vinashyati. So Adnya means people who have no knowledge of Vedas. So there is no question of having faith in them. They basically live an animalistic life. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending, making that as the prime goal of their life. Ashraddhadhana have knowledge of the Vedas, but don't have faith in it. 90% of Hindus fall in that category. They will say, Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Ramayana. But then, what do you follow? Puranatli vangi Puranat, which means, don't tell me to follow anything. I don't follow anything. Even Brahmanas nowadays eat beef. And they take pride in it. Then Samshayatma, they have knowledge of Vedas, they have faith in the Vedas, but don't believe that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The conclusion of the Vedas, Vedesha Sarvair Aham Eva Vedya. That they don't agree with. So, this is an interesting category. So, Nishchaya, therefore, is product of understanding plus imbibing. The Dasha Mula Tattva. What they were calling Amnaya again and again is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's 10 principal tenets of our Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. They are called Dasha Mula Tattva. I will project them very quickly again. There are 10 principal subjects in the Sambandha Abhidhaya Prayojana of Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. They are called Dasha Mula Tattva. Please repeat. Amnaya Praha Tattvam Harimiha Paramam Sarva Shaktim Rasabdhim Tadbhinnam Shamscha Jivan Prakriti Kavalitan Tadvimuktamscha Bhavat Bheda Bheda Prakasham Sakalamapi Harehe Sadhanam Shuddha Bhaktim Sadhyam Tat Priti Vaiti Upadishati Eva Iti Upadishati Tam Gaura Chandram Evastu Maha. I worship Lord Hari, Gaurachandra, who teaches the following 10 theistic principles. Amnaya Praha Tattvam. Anywhere you have to go and debate about anything, first you have to establish your pramana, evidence. Like lawyers talk based on Indian penal code. Similarly, you have to put forward my argument, your argument. You have to first establish what is your praman. Our praman is Veda. We accept Vedas as they are. That is our penal code, God given. So Amnaya Praha Tattva means we accept Vedic revelation coming in parampara as our basis. What is the first thing that the Vedas teach? Harim Iha Paramam. Lord Hari is supreme. Vedesha Sarvair Aham Eva Vedya. Then what is the characteristic of this Lord Hari? Sarva Shaktim and rasabdhim. He is possessor of inconceivable potencies and ocean of rasa, reservoir of all rasa. So in this world, people think God is great, but we also know God is sweet. Greatness and sweetness, Aishwarya and Madhurya. So his Aishwarya also we know, but his Madhurya also we know. Sarva Shaktim Rasabdhim. So this is about Hari. Now talk about Jivas. Who am I? Tad bhinnam shamscha. Amsha means part and parcel of part and parcel. So it goes like that. Jivas are his separated parts and parcels. And there are two types of them. There are Prakruti Kavalitan, those who are in the grip of Maya, Prakruti. And Tad Vimuktamscha Bhavat, those who are free from Maya. So there is Nitya Baddha and there is Nitya Mukta. There are two types of living beings who emanate from the Supreme Lord as his parts and parcels. Then comes, what is the relationship between God and his parts and parcels and his energies? That relationship is Bheda Bheda Prakasham. God is simultaneously one with them, yet different from them. So till now, these 8 points is Sambandha Jnana. Full Sambandha. Itna khataranak hai hamare paas. And to the degree we are convinced of these principles, to that degree Nishchaya becomes a byproduct. So that's why we have to first understand and then imbibe these 10 Dashamula Tattvas. Then 9th is Harehe Sadhanam Shuddha Bhaktim. So what is the sadhana? The means to achieve the supreme goal? Shuddha Bhakti. And what is that supreme goal? Sadhyam Tat Pritim, Krishna Prema. So 8 principles talked about Sambandha Jnana, 9th talked about Abhidheya, process, and 10th talked about Prayojana, the ultimate goal. What is the result of studying these 10 principles? A jiva can shake off the malady of avidya. जैसे ignorance, आपने देखा है कभी कभी हम किसी ड्रामा में अगर आपने काम किया है और उसमें आपने बैल की खाल ओढ़ ली है या कुछ ऐसा, sometimes people take a and then they really behave like a dinosaur or a bull or a donkey or whatever. तो हमने क्या किया है, अविद्या की खाल ओढ़ लिया हमारे ऊपर, अज्ञाना, and then we are behaving like fools, morons. So shake off the malady of avidya. As soon as you hear this 10 truths, what happens to you? Say, throw off this, what nonsense am I embarrassing myself lifetime after lifetime with? That is how you feel. Secondly, these 10 truths nourish your love of God in the heart, and they also bestow upon you full satisfaction in life. So these 10 truths are part of our nishchaya, to understand them and to imbibe them. So they already displayed that very nicely. So I won't further elaborate this, but I would maybe send the whole document of detailing of each of these principles. Patiently read it. It is high tattva. You may sometimes sleep off as you read it, thinking, my God, Krishna, all right, Baba, तुमने जो किया सब सही ठीक किया, मुझे तंग मत करो बस. No, don't get exasperated. Please read it thoroughly. This is our philosophical basis of Bhakti Yoga. Sometimes people think devotees क्या है, लल्लू पंचू, बहुत sentimental लोग रहते हैं, सिर्फ गाते हैं, नाचते हैं, रोते हैं, they don't have philosophy. They don't have sit down. They will tell you philosophy. How are we based in our 10 tenets? So let us now just quickly discuss how does Nishchaya manifest in our real life. The first and foremost, it manifests in our quality of sadhana and seva. Very obvious. You look at the person's quality of sadhana and seva, you know how much nishchay he has got in spiritual life, determination. The second expression of nishchay is that a person wants to act in the role of an instrument and not in the role of a doer. That is also determination. We have that famous song, Prabhupada's Boro Kripa Koile Krishna Adhamera Prati. Entire song is nothing but Prabhupada expressing his confidence in Krishna, not in himself. So when we are talking about confidence, it is not that ego boosting, कि मैं कुछ भी कर सकता हूँ, लात मारेल तिकडे पाणी काढेल, in Marathi. This kind of language. This is not a devotee's confidence. Devotee's confidence is in Krishna and his empowerment. So that is very much visible in the way the devotee conducts his demeanor while doing wonderful activities in Krishna consciousness. The third manifestation of this nishchaya is sometimes in our spiritual life we may get a slap by Krishna or a pat. You understand? So if we commit some mistake, we may get a strong chiding or correction. Or sometimes we may actually come across like a apparent dead end. We feel like kuch nahi ho sakta hai. Devotees misunderstand. Everything is bad. Everything is chaos. At that time, what is the degree of our commitment to Krishna consciousness? How does still we continue with our sadhana and seva? That is a symptom of nishchay. So sometimes you get a slap and sometimes you get a pat. And whether we are going through difficult times or happy times, flourishing times, sampade vipade taha thakuk samabhave dine dine vruddhi hauka namera prabhave. That famous song. Prabhu tava pada yoge murani vedana. In that song it comes. Sampade vipade taha thakuk samabhave dine dine vruddhi hauka namera prabhave. So whether I am situated in prosperity or calamity, sampada or vipada, may my devotion unto you just go on increasing by the influence of the holy names that I chant. And you can see Prabhupada also was like this. In his life, he remained the same type of devotee. Going through all these kind of things that sampada, vipada, things that happened around. Whether it was in his life before taking sannyas or after taking sannyas, before establishing ISKCON, after establishing ISKCON, before coming across the prosperity of ISKCON or after flourishing wealth and abundance that he get from Krishna conscious movement. So that is a symptom of nishchaya. So we saw till now what? First one, sadhana and seva, quality. Second, wanting to be an instrument, not a doer. And difficulty or flourishing condition, slap or pat, he remains steady in that. Another symptom of nishchay is sometimes we get taste and sometimes we don't get taste in bhakti. But one still continues to chant or do those spiritual activities because it is an order of an acharya. मैं किसी आचार्य के आज्ञा को लांघ नहीं सकता. So sometimes I experience great rasa in chanting, sometimes I don't experience it. That doesn't matter. Just like that South Indian Brahmana, he was told read Bhagavad Gita every day. And he was such a illiterate, he couldn't even hold it properly, forget reading it. And every day he would sit and read. And write that too in the midst of everybody. And everybody would make a mockery out of him. But he never gave up. Sometimes in our temple, people come and they see devotees struggling in chanting. The way sometimes devotees while standing also they are falling. And some people laugh at it. And I sometimes heart of heart admire that devotee. I think, my God, मानना पड़ेगा इसका determination को. गिरते पड़ते मरते छोड़ता नहीं माला. माया जितना घुसा मारे उसको. पकड़ के रखे. So we have to think from this angle that it is an order of an acharya, and that's why I will carry it out. Sometimes I may get taste and sometimes I may not. And the way to get this confidence is to become worthy of a pure devotee's investing their confidence in us. How do you become confident in spiritual life? None of you heard me. Tell me again. To become worthy, investing their confidence in us. We should become worthy that our superiors can invest their confidence in us. I remember sometimes even if you make a mistake, and if a superiors have that confidence in you, that he will do it, that investing of confidence by them in you is what gives you confidence in spiritual life. So we have to develop that type of worthiness in a relationship with them. Yamuna Mataji. Once Prabhupada was traveling in a train and he was in a very, very ill health condition. And he was not having any appetite. And at a certain point of time he got little appetite. And he felt so hungry at that time. So he told, can I get some prasadam? And there was nothing there. They had not carried anything for cooking or whatever. So Yamuna Mataji went into the pantry car. Indian train pantry car. You know what it is. And the people there and the cleanliness standards and everything else. So she said, my spiritual master is hungry. I am here to cook some rice and carry it for him. They said, bana hua rice hai, utha ke leke jao. So she said, no, I will cook. So, हमने बनाया ना? नहीं, I will cook. Those people got, annoyed. They said, nothing doing, we will not provide any facility. So she said, if you don't allow me to cook right now, I will jump out of this moving train. And those fellows didn't know what to do. Such a lady, coming in your kitchen. So then they allowed her. And then she actually first cleaned everything. Then I cooked the nice, good quality rice. And then carried that with some nice 4 or 5 sabjis around. And that rice was placed with a mound, hole in the center with ghee poured inside. 5 sabjis around in front of Prabhupada after 20 minutes of cooking and offering. And then Prabhupada had it, and then that ear-to-ear smile, as we call it. And that is the price a devotee expects, for a service that he renders. So Prabhupada had such confidence in his disciples. We know that famous story where Prabhupada says about Malti Mataji to one of his sannyasi godbrothers. Now this is a sannyasi talking about his lady disciple to another sannyasi. And what is his dialogue? She cooks for me. And I am such a difficult person that I every day criticize her. Every day find faults with her cooking. But if need be, she is prepared to slit her throat for me. And if need be, I will also do the same for her. This is... and Balti Mataji, before that, she had really got disappointed with Prabhupada's giving so many corrections. She was thinking, maybe I am not qualified enough to serve Prabhupada, I will go away, from Mayapur back to America. Both ho gaya, nahi hota hai. And she was about to quit. She was about to put that last thali. After the whole prasadam order, she was going to go and tell Prabhupada, Hare Krishna, I am going back. And when she heard that statement, she was coming in to serve. She fell off, in the process of hearing this statement. So this is called confidence. When a pure devotee invests that type of confidence in us, then we also can be very confident in all the execution of spiritual activities that we do. And the last part after coming to ISKCON, we may do many things based on our abilities. And thus we may forget Krishna. If we forget to pray to Krishna, we forget that Krishna can empower me or disempower me at any point of time. And therefore, these two components, the prayer component and the action component that we have to work on both of them, because usually we should begin with a prayerful action. First prayer and then action. Every time. That's why in the beginning of the class we have prayers. Before prasadam we have prayers. Before chanting we have prayers. Why that? Because the action component is easy to pick up, but the expressing that Krishna's empowerment is needed. That prayer component is what we should emphasize. That will give us confidence in the activities that we spiritually practice. So we end there. I think that's the only thing we could cover today. We will do next time Dhairya. Who is the group? Okay, so we will look forward to your presentation and we wish you all the best. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Upadeshamrita ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hare.